Xiao spent her days in a place most people would never dare to stand. At just 23 years old, she worked as a tower crane operator in Cuzhou, China, spending long shifts high above the ground, guiding massive construction equipment. While the job itself was unusual, it was her social media presence that brought her wider attention. Posting under the Douyin nickname Little Chu, Xiao had built an audience of more than 110,000 followers and accumulated over 305,000 likes. Her viewers were fascinated by the contrast between her appearance and her profession. She was a young mother of two who regularly shared videos from crane cabins high above construction sites, giving followers a glimpse into a world few people ever experience. Her profile bio offered a glimpse into her personality. It read, "I can be strong, and I can be gentle. Nothing is absolute. It all depends on who you are." On July 20th, 2021, that online presence suddenly became the center of international attention. According to reports, Xiao was finishing work at a construction site when she fell nearly 50 meters, or 160 feet, from a tower crane. Witnesses later claimed she still had her phone in her hand when she struck the ground. And it turns out that they were right. A video circulating online appeared to show a recording, abruptly turning into blurred images as equipment rushed past the camera. Almost immediately, speculation began spreading across social media. Some claimed she had been filming content when the accident occurred. Others suggested she had been attempting to take a photograph or record a video. Her family strongly disputed those claims, insisting that Xiao was a professional who kept her phone stored away while working, and that the incident was simply a tragic accident caused by a missed step. Whatever the exact circumstances, the outcome was devastating. The 23-year-old mother of two lost her life, leaving behind her family and the audience that had followed her daily updates from high above the city. Today, much of Xiao's online presence has disappeared. Her Douyin account is difficult to locate, and now only screenshots and a couple of videos remain. Yet her story continues to be remembered as one of the most haunting examples of how an ordinary moment can suddenly become the final chapter of someone's story. On September 27, 2024, a video began spreading across social media that left millions of people utterly disturbed. It was not a stunt, a prank, nor a carefully edited piece of content that was designed to go viral. Instead, it appeared to show a completely ordinary moment between friends that ended in tragedy. The video featured 24-year-old Russian influencer Irina Glazunova during a night out in Tbilisi, Georgia. Originally from Moscow, Irina had traveled to the city to visit friends. Like countless young people documenting their lives online, she spent part of the evening recording videos as they walked through the city center. At around 2:30 in the morning, Irina and a friend were walking through First Republic Square. The atmosphere seemed relaxed and carefree. In the footage, Irina can be seen smiling, singing, and enjoying herself as she walks along the pavement. Nothing about the recording suggests that anything is about to go wrong. In fact, the clip feels almost mundane. It looks like the sort of video that would normally be forgotten within a few hours of being posted. As the recording continues, Irina sings along to a Russian song called For the Last Time. The title would later become a talking point online, after this event unfolded in the worst way. At the time, however, it was simply the soundtrack to a night out with friends. While singing, Irina repeatedly looks toward the camera and interacts with her friend. She appears completely focused on the moment and unaware of what is directly behind her. As she continues walking, she approaches the entrance to an underground pedestrian passage. The entrance was protected by a low concrete wall, measuring approximately 30 centimeters in height. There were no railings or barriers above it. As you can see on screen right now, the opening led down into an underground passage, roughly 5 meters below street level. Without realizing how close she is to the edge, Irina moves backwards and catches her footing on the low wall. In an instant, she loses her balance and falls into the passage below. The cheerful atmosphere captured only seconds earlier vanishes immediately. The video ends in a horrified scream. Emergency services responded, and Irina was transported to hospital with severe injuries. Despite medical treatment, she died later that same day. News of the incident spread rapidly across the internet. Millions of people watched the footage, with many commenting on how quickly an ordinary moment had turned into a life-changing event. Others focused on the unsettling coincidence that she had been singing a song called For the Last Time shortly before the accident occurred. As the story gained attention, public discussion began shifting away from the video itself and toward the location where the incident had happened. Local residents and online commentators questioned the safety of the underpass entrance, arguing that the low parapet provided little protection against an accidental fall. Photographs taken during daylight hours appeared to show just how small the barrier was. Some residents claimed the design had been dangerous for years, while others argued that a moment of distraction could have resulted in a similar accident for almost anyone. City officials defended the structure, stating that the underpass had originally been built according to the standards of its time. However, architectural experts publicly questioned whether the barrier was adequate by modern expectations. The debate continued for weeks after the incident. Flowers and tributes soon appeared at the site in memory of Irina. Her family traveled to Georgia before returning her body to Russia, where she was later laid to rest in Moscow during a private funeral attended by family and friends. In the aftermath of the tragedy, a barrier was eventually installed at the location where the fall occurred. Today, the video remains one of the most shocking but least known accidental final videos ever captured. What began as a simple recording of friends enjoying a night out became a global conversation about distraction, chance, and public safety. For many people who watched the footage, it served as a stark reminder of how quickly an ordinary moment can become something entirely unexpected. In May 2025, a video recorded on the slopes of an Indonesian volcano captured something deeply unsettling. At first, it seemed like another adventure clip destined for social media. A hiking guide and two clients were making their way across the rugged terrain of Mount Dukono, one of Indonesia's most active volcanoes. The guide later explained that he had become uneasy after noticing the volcano had been unusually quiet for several days. For Mount Dukono, silence can be a warning sign. As the group climbed higher, they passed other hikers making their way toward the summit. Some were standing close to the crater itself. Others were reportedly flying drones and filming content just meters from one of the most dangerous areas of the volcano. Then, everything changed. The guide heard deep tremors coming from beneath the mountain. Recognizing the danger, he immediately told his clients they needed to descend. As they turned back, the eruption began. Mount Dukono exploded with enormous force, sending a column of ash and volcanic material nearly 10 kilometers into the sky. The eruption was so powerful that witnesses described hearing booming sounds echoing across the mountain. The guide's video continued recording as the group hurried down the slope. Ash filled the air, and panic spread among hikers attempting to escape. What makes the footage particularly chilling is that as they descended to safety, they could still see people remaining near the summit. Some were standing close to the crater, others appeared to be continuing to film. At the time, nobody knew exactly what was about to happen.
Today, Friday 8, we are lucky, we already climbed down. Be careful guys, there are still many local tourists. Oh my god. When it's very quiet, it means the big eruption is coming. And I make decision we have to climb down.
But later, investigators confirmed that 3 hikers had lost their lives during the eruption. 2 were visitors from Singapore. The third was an Indonesian woman. Several others were injured, while rescue teams worked for hours to evacuate survivors from the mountain. The tragedy quickly raised difficult questions. Authorities revealed that the hiking group had entered the area, despite official warnings advising people to stay away from the crater. Mount Dukono had already erupted hundreds of times in recent months, and volcanologists had repeatedly warned that explosive activity could occur without notice. A 4-kilometer exclusion zone around the crater had been recommended because of the risks posed by volcanic rocks, ash, toxic gases, and sudden eruptions. Despite those warnings, the volcano continued attracting hikers, seeking dramatic views, extreme experiences, and social media content. Experts later warned that videos showing successful climbs can create a false sense of security. People see creators reaching the summit and returning safely, but they rarely see the countless times disaster narrowly fails to happen. In this case, the disaster did happen. The guide's footage survives as a haunting reminder of how quickly conditions can change around an active volcano. One moment, hikers were standing near the crater, filming videos and enjoying the view. Minutes later, rescue teams were searching the mountainside, while a towering plume of ash rose into the sky. For the guide and his 2 clients, the decision to turn around when they heard those tremors likely saved their lives. For others who remained near the summit, the warning came too late.
We're gonna live life, all right?
That's right, let's go.
Let's get it, let's get it. Yeah! Yeah!
Richard Ragland never expected a simple weekend trip with friends to leave behind a mystery that would remain unsolved for 2 years. In June 2017, the 22-year-old traveled with friends to Foster Falls State Park in Tennessee. The group had been returning from a trip to Gatlinburg when they decided to stop at the popular waterfall. According to his family, Richard wanted to take photographs of the falls and enjoy the scenery before heading home. Friends later reported that he entered the water but never resurfaced. Rescue efforts followed, but Richard's time on this earth came to an end just days before his 23rd birthday.
He was an amazing young man. We miss him dearly with all of our heart.
Yes.
For his parents, Robin McCreer and Gary McCreer, the loss was devastating. They described Richard as a young man full of energy who never met a stranger. He had served in the National Guard, dreamed of an acting career, and had recently been cast in a film being shot in Atlanta. Yet, one question continued to haunt them. Richard had been carrying a GoPro camera that day, and they hoped it might contain footage explaining what happened during his final hours. Unfortunately, the camera was never recovered. Then, 2 years later, something extraordinary happened. A diver and YouTuber named Rich Aloha was exploring the waters around Foster Falls, searching for lost property. During a dive, he spotted what appeared to be the corner of a camera, buried beneath mud and debris. When he pulled it free, he discovered it was a damaged GoPro. Against all odds, the memory card inside still worked. As Rich reviewed the footage, he realized he was looking at videos recorded by the young man who had disappeared beneath these same waters 2 years earlier. The clips did not reveal anything sinister. Instead, they showed Richard exactly as his family remembered him, laughing with friends, enjoying the outdoors and making the most of a summer adventure. Determined to return the camera, Rich spent days researching and making phone calls until he finally tracked down Richard's parents. The discovery brought them something they had not expected to receive after so much time had passed. Closure. Not because the footage answered every question, but because it allowed them to see their son again. They were able to watch him living life to the fullest during his final day, surrounded by friends and doing what he loved. For many people, the story is memorable because of the incredible coincidence. A camera lost underwater for 2 years was found by another man named Rich and returned to a family who had spent years praying it would one day be recovered. But for Richard's parents, the most important part was far simpler. After years of uncertainty, they were finally able to reconnect with a small piece of their son's final adventure. Thank you so much for watching. I'm uploading daily true crime and dark content here on this channel, so make sure that you're subscribed, hit like on the video, and also drop a comment so you get shown more of my stuff. Please do be careful out there, and I'll see you tomorrow.